Hello, happy Thursday, Kelly. Hey, how many more days till your birthday?
13.
13.
No, 7.
7.
7. I had to think about that. I didn't know what day it was. I had to look down at my calendar.
I had to make sure.
What happened in the month of November? Next week, next Turkey Day this year.
Oh, wait, so you're on, it's going to be on Thanksgiving this year?
It lands on Thanksgiving like every, I think, 8 or 9 years. I forget how often. It's always the good birthdays, though.
Look at money shots with the holiday birthdays.
Yeah, right?
Thanksgiving and Halloween. Let's go. Where are we at? I'm sorry. I'm getting everything pulled up here. How was today? I know you just had to tell someone to fuck off because they have called you about solar panels.
Today is not, things are not going my way today, Megan. I'll tell you that much. So look, I hate when numbers keep calling like throughout the day. Like leave me a voice. If it's important, you'll leave me a voicemail, right?
Right.
And the same number called like the third time and she was trying to sell me solar panels. I'm like, I already have solar panels. I already told the 7 people that called before you to take me off the list. Now I'm just going to block the number, but then they're just going to call from another number. You know how that goes.
It is the ebbs and flows of telemarketing. So
I have no idea how people do it.
Yeah,
could you imagine if that had to be like our jobs? Like we get to work for Barstool Sports, but could you imagine if we had to be telemarketers?
You know what? I feel like trolls are a lot like telemarketers. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but like they just don't get paid for it, right? So they just come and they're like, they bug you, and then they just keep bugging you until you tell them to fuck off, and they keep bugging you even after you tell them. They just don't get paid.
I mean, I don't know. When Tyrann Mathieu said that he had blocked over 500 people one day, I'm like, damn, okay, maybe I haven't blocked that many people. Maybe I'm doing pretty good in life.
Yeah, I went through one day, there was one particular day when I went through and had just like a soul rejuvenating block of like, and I kind of prided myself on not blocking anyone for a really long time, but then I went and blocked everyone that followed one particular account, and like it didn't matter.
Oh, I've done that. Like if you follow the guy that trolls me, like you don't get to follow me either. And people are like, that's not really fair. I'm like, not guilty by association. Get out of here.
Thank you. I agree. And so I went through and I did that, and people messaged me. They're like, what did I do? And I'm just like, you know what you did. I don't even
Sorry.
know you. Enough with the drama, though. This is not a soap.
Sorry for being petty on this beautiful Thursday.
It was beautiful. It's gross here. I don't know how
it's gross here.
All right, so I guess we're all in the same boat. But let's start talking about some football, some college for this weekend. And I know you like a lot of ugly ass dogs from what I understand, and we'll start with, I don't know if this is necessarily an ugly dog, but Iowa State, Oklahoma. I leaned Oklahoma at first, and then I backed away. And look, I only like 3 games this week. I'll put that out there.
3 games? That seems a little light.
It's extremely light. I've obviously not been so light over in the college basketball section of things. But look, right now, for whatever reason, this time of the year, this happened to me last year too. I was great in NFL. I was having a decent college year, and then I just hit a lull for whatever reason. And that is what has been the last 2 weeks of my life. So I leaned Oklahoma, ended up staying away. Felt like Iowa State could actually just come out here and get the outright win. Purdy has been playing really well recently. Obviously, you're looking like you like Ohio State if you're thinking dogs here. What is your take on this matchup, Kel?
Yeah, I lean towards Iowa State here. I'm not sure I'm going to get to the window with this team. I do believe they should win this game. So the +4 is kind of meaningless. I think you should play it on the money line if you're going to play it. This is a Iowa State team that's kind of had some ups and downs throughout the year, particularly last week at Texas Tech. They had to fight all the way back and then still lost the game on a 62-yard field goal.
62 yards is a lot of fucking grass to cover.
Yeah, I don't really know what the point was there, but congrats to Texas Tech for, getting a nice double-digit underdog win that I was not on. That being said, if I do play this, it'll be a play against Oklahoma. Last week, as I mentioned, Oklahoma's been on the ropes a ton of times this year. And this was no different. Baylor, the final score should have actually been far worse than it was. Baylor had 2 red zone turnovers that made me want to throw my phone across the plane. And
once you got service back, that is.
No, before. I'm actually glad that I lost service because there were a couple other plays, that fake field goal by James Franklin, a couple other things like that I'm just glad I didn't have to see. The poor lady next to me would have been like, what is wrong with this girl? So it ended up working out well that the Wi-Fi went out, but I lean towards Iowa State here. We'll see if I get to the window on this team. I'll tweet out my final card tomorrow evening. But I do think that this is a quintessential Oklahoma loses that Baylor game kind of twice sort of scenario. This is really a game that I don't think they care as much about if you look for those situational spots. This one's called a bubble burst, if you will. And that's why I like the Cyclones here.
Look, I haven't liked the Cyclones all season, and I hate that now is the time that I do. I'm not playing them, so don't worry. But they have started to come into form. Gotta start giving them the respect that I guess they have deserved all season. Well, they haven't deserved it all season, but it's been in them all season, and now it's finally deciding to peek its little head out.
Well, it doesn't help the case. Sorry, really quick, that Matt Campbell saying his goal wasn't to win the Big 12. Right. That really concerns me. I'm like, wait, what?
What? Okay.
I mean, that was everybody had you projected. That's why I took their season win total under. The whole world loved this team. I didn't. I think this is a get right kind of game for them after last week, though.
All right, let's move on. Texas, West Virginia. Texas catching a 3 at West Virginia. I know it's a weird place to play, tough place to play. I leaned West Virginia at first just because I felt like they have been weird. They've either been a team that's beaten the teams they weren't supposed to, or they lose when they aren't supposed to. That being said, Texas kind of the same way this season. They've been big games, then they just fall off the face of the earth. Big game again, fall off the face of the earth. Again, I stayed away from this because I feel like this is a coin flip game. I don't feel like there's an advantage either way. Texas should have the offense to take care of West Virginia. But then again, it's a weird place. As I've said, it's the fucking hills. Hills have eyes, man. I don't know if you want to necessarily mess with that. But if you're looking at a dog, I'm guessing you're looking at Texas.
No, I'm looking at West Virginia here. Look, okay. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know what Texas has left in the tank. How do you get your team rallied around you after you are 30-point favorite and lose at home to KU? My problem is that KU got completely outgained in that one. And so in theory, they didn't lose the game in the numbers, but they lost the game on the field. And that kind of concerns me here. The line comes out, West Virginia -3. Looks like a complete and utter trap. But in fact, West Virginia, as you mentioned, Morgantown is a tough place to play. We'll see if weather is going to end up being a factor come Saturday. I was there last Sunday. Pittsburgh's just an hour, if you will, from Morgantown, and it was cold, and it was wet, and it was rainy. I don't know what Steve's going to do to get his team rallied around to go get a nice win in Morgantown, and then they have to play K-State back in Austin for their final game. They may or may not have cashed it in for the year, but I lean towards West Virginia here, and we're going to see how the line ends up moving in this one. So far, it hasn't. I thought we would see Texas coming in as the square dog. I thought maybe I'd get a better number on West Virginia. I'm hoping that by kickoff I do. We'll see how it plays out.
I'm thinking some money should come in on Texas. I mean, I don't see why.
I think everybody's going to be, they're going to bounce back. Oh, it was a fluke, whatever. Texas is not back. The interesting thing is they're now the third team as a 30-point favorite to lose outright this year, which is just mind-boggling.
Texas, is not back. If there was anything to solidify that point, it would be losing to Kansas. Next is one of my plays, Wake Forest, Clemson. This is probably going to be the biggest public dog there is. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I like Wake Forest plus the 4.5. Clemson has looked better as of late. Their defense is extremely good, but I think Wake Forest's offense has enough high-powered play to keep them within this number. Also, Wake Forest has just been a cover machine. They've been fabulous this year. And these games always seem to be played really close. So I like Wake Forest here plus the 4.5. I think they could even get it down on the money line. I know that's asking a lot, as Clemson has been playing better, but I like Wake Forest.
I really don't have a big opinion here. This is interesting, though, because Clemson's so offensively inept. I definitely don't want to lay the points with them. And you have Wake Forest, as you mentioned, maybe the public dog because they've done so well against the spread this year. I mean, God, I'm looking at this going, when's the last time Clemson was only a single-digit home favorite? I mean, It's been a few years. The other thing that I don't quite understand how this is not a preview of the ACC Conference Championship, right? With Wake Forest a couple weeks ago losing to North Carolina because it wasn't a conference game. I don't really quite understand this whole dynamic with the ACC. But look, I'm seeing it like this. Completely stay the hell away from this game. Don't touch it. I don't like it. It stinks. I don't want anything to do with it.
All three of my games, I feel like, are just on the verge of stinky. They really are. And it's just I'm going to hold my nose. And these Wake Forest has done well for me. They've covered for me. They've put money in my pocket. Look, I said the same thing about fucking Syracuse last week. And obviously, look what happened. But Clemson, again, is.
I think you got mushed on that one, Megan. I'm not going to put you at fault for it.
I've been playing against, I've played a lot against Clemson this year, and it's ended out well in my favor. And I'm hoping Wake Forest knows this is the year to capitalize and just beat the fuck out of them.
I mean, in theory, that's exactly how this should play out, right?
Yeah, in theory. But
I can't lay points with Clemson. They just can't seem to. I know that they can string together some wins, but they've been one of the worst ATS teams all year. It's just not like we can talk about them in a minute. Like, I want to like Missouri against Florida. I don't know if I can do it.
I had Florida, but I didn't think I could do it the opposite way. I didn't want to lay that many with Florida, with Mizzou just all of a sudden coming out of nowhere. But as you said, we talk about it in a minute. But it's a nice segue into this next game that we talked about earlier in the week, and I really liked Illinois plus the 11.5. That's a very high spread with that total being 37.5. But then coach gets COVID. And I personally don't know how much he's worth. I know he's a big motivator, not really the X and O guy. I don't think Iowa will beat Illinois by 11.5 points. I don't think they will beat them by 7, but I am in my feelings this week as far as overthinking. And Illinois was on my list as soon as I went through the slate this week. And then after the COVID thing, I took them off just out of being hesitant. But I definitely lean Illinois.
Yeah, I'm going to be on Illinois. They're probably not going to make my parlay because I don't think they can win. And that's what really frustrated me about Minnesota last week when I did bet against Iowa. Minnesota had multiple opportunities to win that game. And this is just a play against Iowa once again. And an Illinois team that shows me they can be scrappy on the road. They won at Penn State. They won in Minnesota. I do think that it is pretty egregious to ask Iowa, who has been terrible in the Big Ten as a home favorite of 10 points or more, just 2-9 against the spread, to be able to beat this Illinois team. As you mentioned, Megan, double digits, low total. We've seen it historically produce over 70%. And that's where I'm going here. Illinois is definitely the play.
Okay, I might have to add them to my card now that I have a little bit of KIV confidence behind me. But it's like when I first looked at it, I loved it. Like, I immediately texted my husband. I said, love Illinois this week, catching double digits, total's only 37.5. And then the COVID thing, and I just was slowly took my foot off the gas. Next, let's talk about Michigan, Maryland. Maryland is a 14.5 point dog at home. Michigan is I think we all know is a good football school right now. Should they be laying 14.5 on the road though? That is the question that needs to be answered. And I think that you'll answer it by saying no. That's why you're taking the Terps plus the 14.5.
The Terps look really scary here, Megan. But the good news is, guess who Michigan plays next week? That's right, Ohio State. And that's where I kind of think we have them looking ahead here. I know I've been terrible betting against Michigan this year outside of saying that I leaned the Spartans, yet I didn't actually get to the window with them. But I think I'm 0-3 against Michigan this year. And that sucks. So that's why I'm not going to sit here and say Maryland's going to spring the upset or anything crazy like that. But I do think this is just too many points. Line was 15. Now it's 14 for a reason. Sharp guys are buying on Maryland. And that is just because you have to look at the scheduling here and think, how much does Michigan really care about Maryland this week when they have Ohio State on deck?
I completely agree with that. Again, Michigan is a good football school, look ahead spot. This could just be a sneaky spot for Maryland to cover that big number at home. I mean, they have the crowd behind them. They should should be able to get that done. Let's talk about, you want to talk about Nebraska whiskey. Another team that I don't think should be laying 7 or a whole touchdown even at home, but I have no play here. Are you on Nebraska?
Yeah, Nebraska opened 9.5-point favorites here, Megan. That tells you all you need to know. Way overvalued Wisconsin was this week by the bookmakers. And I know that they've been playing better as of late. And what's Nebraska been doing? Not great. Well, that's because Nebraska's been favorites. Now all of a sudden they're getting no respect. They're
getting no respect.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They're getting no respect. I do think that this Cornhuskers team is probably going to make my 3-team parlay. I'll let you guys know by tomorrow afternoon when I release that. But I'm pushing really hard for Nebraska to be able to spring the road upset in Madison. I do think that this team is well coached by Scott Frost. They obviously like him. There's a reason why Scott Frost is still the local hero, even though some people are frustrated with him. He did get a contract negotiation there. I do think that Madison is a tough place to win, but Scott Frost has done really well on the road for Nebraska. Again, there are times teams do really well in the underdog position and then they become a favorite and they just get obliterated. And that's Nebraska. They are just the tale of two different teams. And I think this is too many points.
I would try or tend to agree with you, though I want no part of that game. Next game we'll talk about is one that I picked, and again, very stinky, and of course I'm a little worried about it, but that is Cincy laying 11 against a team that I've actually really liked betting on, which is SMU. You have Cincinnati at home, and for me, this is all about incentive, right? They have a home game. They're definitely wanting to keep their undefeated season alive. It's going to be senior day where they are honoring 33 plus seniors, which I know can be emotional, but Ritter, who is their quarterback, is a senior. They have a couple of linemen that have been there. They're like 6th or 7th year seniors that have literally been there forever. And you know that they know that this is the year to capitalize. They're right there. They're right on the bubble of being able to be in that the final, right? And I feel like this is where they can go and they can romp a good SMU team with a solid record, and that will go right into the brains of the committee. I know I've talked about style points with Cincinnati, and it's going to be hard to get some style points over SMU, but I feel like if there is a game where they go out, they leave it all out on the field, this one is going to be it. I really hate laying 11 here, and I've been burned by the big spreads with the Bearcats a lot, but I love this game. I think they come out and they make a statement.
I don't think this is a big spread though, Megan. The last 4 games have been favored by over 22 points on average. I mean, look, they dropped 4 straight. The bookmakers got to do something to get people off of SMU because the whole world's betting SMU right now. That's why we've seen the line drop from 12.5. It gets much lower. I'm going to be on the Bearcats. I made the game 13, so I'm going, okay, opening number. I crossed it right out. Now we're just going to see if it keeps dropping. I don't necessarily believe in style points for the Bearcats to get in. I don't think it matters. I think they just have to win out because they do have the win over Notre Dame. So it's not like Notre Dame can leapfrog them, if you will. I think that's my one thought process there. But I do think late in the fourth quarter, Cincinnati's not going to take their foot off the gas, and that could be able to get you that backdoor cover, if you will. I could see this easily being Cincinnati winning by 17, one of those type of late touchdowns when they've been up 10 most games. I probably won't be getting involved, but the only side I would be getting involved with would be Cincinnati if I do.
Well, that makes me feel really good. This one's like living in my gut. I've taken Cincinnati a lot this year. They backfired on me a couple of times where the spread was 22. Some guy politely let me know that they're 0-4 ATS and all that. And I'm like, yeah, bitch, as if I didn't look at that before I put it on the card.
As if I'm incapable of doing a simple Google search.
Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, like, I know I'm blonde and I know I'm a chick, but like, do you not like, do I look that dumb? Like, I
mean, you are a natural blonde. I can't say the same.
I know, I'm actually not. I just got my hair redone. I'm like, if you look at my kid's hair, I'm like a brunette, and it's just not my thing. But yeah, I'm taking the Bearcats. I'm laying the 11, and then I'm following that game with taking another favorite, undefeated, who I think will continue that season with the Roadrunners. Meep, meep. I asked Chaps if he liked them, and he said no. He thought this was more of a field goal game. And respectfully, I'm still going against them, or him and them. But I am I'm thinking that UTSA sleptwalk through Southern Miss last week. I think they were thinking ahead to this UAB game. UAB is a solid school. They truly are. But UTSA, I Twitter searched UTSA earlier, and I don't know, I saw like the remnants of the Alamo Dome after one of the games, or like during it, there was like someone having sex in a truck. There was like trash everywhere. I need to send it to you. It's actually really fun. It looked like gritty. Reminded me of like a Bills Mafia, but like Texas. You know what I'm saying? But
like Texas.
But yeah, I like this UTSA team. I think they're going to continue this undefeated streak at home. Again, I know UAB is a good school, but UTSA sleptwalk last week. Looking ahead to this UAB team, they're going to go out there and they're going to road run all over the place. Well, at least that's what I hope.
Yeah, this one scares the crap out of me, Megan, and I am not going to bet it. UTSA has played really, really well. We know they've been great against the spread. This game is for all the marbles for the Sun Belt West Division. But I agree with Chaps here. I think this should be a 3-point game.
And you and Chaps disagreed a lot on this. So maybe I'm the good part in the middle there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to step in front of this team. Should UAB be able to get the cover here? Could they get the outright win? Sure, they're under a touchdown favorite here. I really want no part of this game. I really. Roadrunners have just not been great for me betting against the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I told you all 3 of my games are so weird. I'm just gonna Saturday's just gonna be a weird day. I'm just gonna like get a weird beer that I never drank, or like get like a red wine since I
maybe you should get a Lone Star from Texas.
Maybe, or I'll get like a Ziegenbach. I like Ziegenbach.
There you go. You'll fit in better then.
Those are my go-to beers at the Astro games. Now we'll talk about what we were going to talk about earlier, which is the good old Florida Gators and Missouri. Missouri, who actually was up on Georgia for a whole field goal. I thought about taking Florida here, but I wasn't about to lay 9 with Florida on the road. Not real impressed with Dan Mullen. Haven't been, even when he was up at Mississippi State while I was there. Everyone called him Dan the Man. Didn't really understand it. Not really the man. Not going to be playing.
No, he's not.
As I said, don't trust Florida. They should beat Missouri by 9. They have the athleticism, and even though Dan is not the man, he has enough coaching, I guess, smarts to outcoach this Missouri team. But I will have no part in it. I won't no part in it. I'll stay on the hardwood.
Yeah, the hardwood you've been crushing, so you should stay there because makes sense. Follow the money, and that's where you've been doing well. So keep your football card light and play only the games that you love. And I think that that's how we need to approach this next couple of weeks, except for myself, because I'm going to have like 11 games this weekend.
Look, whenever you want to go to the Money Shots page, Kelly's picks will be there. My basketball will be there. Put them together. Do your own research, because that's best part of having people on the internet that put their knowledge and their research out there. That way you can look at their stuff and be like, hey, you know what? Kelly and Megan are on this play. Maybe this line is correct and I should play it too. That's called being a smarter, better. So just to remind those guys out there or ladies out there that are betting, you always want to surround yourself with smarter people, i.e. why I do the show with Kelly.
You're funny. Look, I want to like Missouri. I told you that. I want to play against Florida so bad. I want Dan Mullen to lose his job when he loses in Columbia. I started that Fire Dan Mullen the petition a couple of weeks ago after how horrific they played. But I don't think I'm going to end up getting to the window with Mizzou. I want to like them so bad. And look, when Florida loses in Columbia, you guys can all tell me I told you so. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I want to bet against them. But last week they were on the ropes to Samford. And now I think they should have been like 11.5 point road favorites here. So then it's 9. Now it's 8. It's like, it kind of, when you asked me for my long list earlier, it's because I kind of wanted to talk through it a little bit more. But the more I look at this Missouri side, the more that I just can't trust them to win this game.
One game that I think you can trust, and I know you're probably like on the edge of your seat ready to talk about, it's your K-State Wildcats and the Baylor Bears. You got K-State laying 1 at home against Baylor, who just had a humongous game last week. So would this be the quintessential letdown spot for the Bears?
God, I hope so, Megan. I don't know if I'm going to get to the window with K-State. And in fact, I should probably put like $1,500 on the Bears because my buddy Chris and I have a dinner bet, but not just a dinner between the two of us. For March Madness, when everybody's out in Vegas, there's going to be like 14 of us. We have dinner reservations at a really nice private room at the steakhouse. And he said losers of this game has to pay the bill, which I've seen as high as like 6,000 or 7,000 in that room. So I'm like, maybe I should put a little bit on Baylor as like a hedge, just in case K-State gets the crap kicked out of them. In all seriousness, I do lean K-State here. I think it's going to be a really close game, which is why I'm not going to recommend betting on either side. K-State has a huge home field advantage. And I think it's something that nobody ever talks about because I'm from Podunk, Manhattan, Kansas. So they just assume that that's what it is. But these smaller places, Happy Valley, Pennsylvania, Lincoln, Nebraska, like places you never want to go.
Right.
But they just really do. There's nothing else. That's what people's passion is, right? Like K-State's going to be absolutely rocking this weekend. Bill Snyder Family Stadium is going to be going. And I do think that K-State should be a 3-point favorite here. When it first came out at 1.5, I was really shocked. When I got home and I started looking farther into it, I'm going, whoa, wait a minute. This line is begging you to bet Baylor. And let's just hope K-State does their job, doesn't make a ton of mistakes, runs the ball. We know that Baylor's going to also run the ball, but K-State's got a really good run defense. So fingers crossed, K-State gets the W. Bet Baylor at your own peril. I'm not telling you to bet K-State, though.
Okay, Auburn, South Carolina. You got Auburn laying a full touchdown on the road. And with their last 2 weeks, I don't know if they deserve to be laying a touchdown on the road, but also South Carolina has just been bottom of the barrel for the SEC.
Well, South Carolina just lost to that same Mizzou team I said I didn't know if I could bet.
Exactly. So it's just like that, whether it's Vandy, South Carolina, or Mizzou, I just, I'm not super excited about those, teams joining the SEC thing. But, I mean, if we're going to do that, can we kick those 3 out?
Yeah, we relegate them to the AAC.
Yeah.
The Big 12 will take the Bearcats, UCF, a couple others. In all seriousness, this is not a play on South Carolina. This is a play against Auburn because who does Auburn play next week?
Iron Bowl.
There you go. Play Alabama next week. So that's something to really look at. Now, normally, these two teams would play some cupcake in November. They always do.
Something really quickly before you get into this. Would you consider taking LSU in the points, or do you think that Alabama is not worried about the Iron Bowl? They're just worried about beating Georgia. Sorry, I know I don't want. I'm throwing you a curveball here, but since you are playing Auburn on the look ahead, I want to know what you think about LSU and they're what, 28? Is that what I saw it at? Maybe hold on.
Let me look and see what we've got for the current line, because you're right. I'm always looking at these situational spots, Megan, to see kind of where I can pick and choose my spots. And that was why I was, against Baylor a couple weeks ago at TCU. Let's see here. Alabama is 20.5-point favorites over Arkansas in Alabama. Now, I could make a case for the Hogs. I'm not going to make a case for the Hogs. I would agree with you that this is a bigger game for Auburn than it is for Alabama.
Yeah, I've misspoken, said LSU. Sorry, I was looking.
Oh, I knew what you meant. Sorry, you just have LSU in your brain all the time.
Yeah, no.
I knew exactly what you meant, but I wanted to look and see what the current line was at the Barstool Sportsbook.
Yeah, no,
and that's just because it was a little bit higher. I do think that we saw some Arkansas money come in for that situational standpoint, but I do agree with you here. Alabama every single year has their sights on the SEC championship game. That's why they fucked around and lost in College Station. And those things do happen to this Alabama team. When your goals are national championship or bust? Yeah, absolutely. So I think they have Georgia circled. Georgia is the team to beat. We know that Alabama will be a 3-point underdog to Georgia in that game. That's going to be the first time Alabama's been an underdog for quite a while. So to answer your question, I think it's way more of a look-ahead spot for Auburn because of how bad South Carolina has been, right? This is going to be a game. This is This is South Carolina's bowl game, if you will. If they can beat Auburn in this situation, because Auburn gets caught looking ahead, the problem is I don't think they're going to win the game. And that's why I keep going back and forth with my parlay. I'm like, can they actually win this game? And I don't know if they can. And 7.5, though, too many points.
All right, next up, we got Vatech at Miami. Miami laying 8 at home. Why is Miami favored that heavily?
All the time. Every time at home. Megan, I have bet against this team in Sun Life Stadium 3 times this year. I am 3-0 against the spread. App State should have beat them. Michigan State did beat them. And Georgia Tech had a chance to beat them as well. This is a Miami team that I remember when I said some, like Nebraska, some teams are really good as underdogs. That's Miami. Manny Diaz gets his team up for superior competition, and they play down to the level of their inferior competition. Vatech, I'm not even going to say is that inferior, but they just fired Justin Fuente. That being said, I love to play on those teams. You know that. That's why, again, I was on TCU. Bye-bye, Gary Patterson. Smell you later. These kids don't really care. Yeah. Every once in a while they care. They don't really care. They're going to have a really fun interim head coach. They're going to get hype. Something's going to be fun in the locker room this week. Try to lift everybody's spirits. I think they have a good shot to go in to Miami and maybe spring the upset.
Will they be in your underdog parlay this week?
I have 6 potentials, and they are one of the 6 potentials. And I'm trying not to overthink it too much here, but I do know the line moved the other direction, went up from 7.5. That does kind of concern me and says that somebody maybe far sharper than I am knows something that I don't know. So I'm going to look into it a little bit more. But yes, they are on my long list.
All right, rounding out that college football Saturday before we move on to tonight's NFL game. You want to talk a little bit about Wyoming, Utah State. Wyoming is 6-point dogs at Utah State. I didn't honestly even look at this game, didn't cross my radar. I would be assuming you're on the Cowboys.
I do like the Cowboys here, and this is one of the other teams that's on my list to possibly make my parlay. Now, I know when you look at this matchup, right, you've got Utah State, 8-2. You've got Wyoming, 5-5. But what does that tell me? That tells me Wyoming needs one more win to become bowl eligible. Plus, you've got the better defense here. Wyoming is a great defense. Like 66 yards per game better than Utah State's defense. Like, this is not like 1A, 1C. This is like top 25 versus, top 75. And that's kind of the thing I'm looking at here. And that's when I'm looking for underdogs I think that can win outright. If you listen to some of my videos, they kind of sound like broken records. And I'm always looking to take those better defenses plus the points, right? And this has been a Wyoming team that has shown some moments of greatness. Last week was one of them. I think we see it again this week. I think they can spring the upset over Utah State, who is just a little overvalued in this scenario. I don't think that they're as good as their 8-2 record shows.
So they are considered for the underdog parlay, Wyoming plus the 6. Let's go Cowboys. I cannot wait to see what you finalize with that.
I have so much more work, Megan, ahead of me. It has been one of those days, as you laughed, I'm getting like crank phone calls from solar panel people where I'm like, hi, I have real life things to do, and that is to find underdog winners. And these 5, so Vatech, South Carolina, Wyoming, Nebraska, and Indiana are my 5 that I'm trying to make a case for here. And it sounds pretty much all of them outside of Wyoming sound absolutely and utterly terrifying.
Well, that's usually the way it goes, and it's worked out well for you thus far. But let's move on to the NFL tonight. We got little New England Patriots at the Atlanta Falcons. Pretty much the young versus the old. I am going to be teasing the Patriots down here to pick them. that has seemed to work well in my favor. Usually I do that with the Chiefs, and obviously last week I told the Chiefs, sayonara, I think that you could get beat, and I got proven so wrong it wasn't even funny. Patrick Mahomes, Odell Beckham to me and just took a shit on my chest. And no shade, Odell. No king shaming here. But I'm just taking the Patriots and I'm teasing them down to a pick 'em. And I'm just hoping that Atlanta doesn't do something nuts and pull a game out of their ass. Belichick should be able to get some schemes going to beat this Falcons team. Please.
I feel the same way about this tease that I did last Thursday night. It seems so easy. It scares the shit out of me. So I will not be teasing the Patriots. I'm looking at them right now at Barstool Sportsbook. Atlanta Falcons minus 115. If you want the 7, total's 47. Now, I know some sharp guys that played the under earlier in the week. I don't think I'm going to be getting involved here. But hey, look, if you follow us on Instagram at Barstool Sportsbook, you're going to see Tom Brady has not been well in primetime games. And I've told you guys this for a long time. He's old. He goes to bed at like 8 p.m. He drinks his vegan smoothie and his shot of honey. And
why are we talking about Tom Brady?
That's a great question. No kidding. That's where my brain is at today. Sorry. That is for a later primetime game this week.
My brain was on LSU. I was thinking about next week's game. I'm like, I'm going A&M. I need to think about that. And here you are.
I'm thinking. I just want you to know, Megan, I'm thinking ahead to Monday night already. That's where my brain is because I want to fast forward through this weekend of everything that I hate. Now everybody's laughing at me in the comments. You're right, because I have the Patriots on my brain and Tom Brady. Great. This is where I'm at. I still call them the San Diego Superchargers, just so you guys know. But that being said, we've got Mac Jones, who Stephen Cha says that he doesn't think Mac Jones is the real deal. I haven't decided if Mac Jones is the real deal or if Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick decided that fucking Mac Jones is the real deal.
Well, what I decided is that Bill Belichick has realized what his quarterback's limitations are and keeps them in their prospective boxes, right? Where a lot of NFL coaches don't do that. A lot of NFL coaches throw their guys out there to the wolves and whatever happens, happens. And they call these plays that maybe their guys are not equipped for. Bill Belichick does not do that. He does not set his quarterbacks up for failure. Now, that being said, this is how I see this game going. Slow, run the ball by both sides. Matty Ice, primetime home dog, has been pretty good over the years. We know the Falcons suck. I would love to take the 7. I would love to bet the under. I'm not getting involved in this game, Megan, because as I just mentioned, my brain is fried. I got way too many other more important things to do than watch this ridiculous Thursday night football game that has the potential to end up just like last Thursday night, and we all get killed in teasers. And I think I lost Megan. And on that note, I would love to know what she's got on tonight besides the Pats and a teaser. So we're going to let her go, drink her water. Have a great week. We'll see you guys tomorrow. There she is. Is she back? I can hear her talking, but I cannot see her face. I hope you guys have a fantastic Thursday. Good luck on all your bets. Again, it's going to be a hard pass for me on Thursday Night Football. I'll be back tomorrow with my 3-team moneyline parlay. Maybe Megan will have a parlay plus for us. Don't forget, she's been crushing college basketball. So make sure you guys head over to the Money Shots page and see what she's got on for this weekend. Have a great night, guys.